everyone, it's Jack from Cultaholic.com, and do you like video games? I certainly like video games, and that's why we're about to talk about... Honestly, I've not had a console since 2011, but I'm here to tell you about video games, so you can count on me to be your expert man. But that's okay, because we've got other news stories to talk about on this very video. And remember as well, of course, that this is the second news video of the day, so check out that first news video if you want to keep up to date with all the little bits and pieces from around the wrestling world. But without any further ado, I think it's about time we kick off this news video, so let's get straight into those headlines. First of all, AEW have revealed a lot of new information about several new video games. Next up, a WWE legend has teased the concept of retirement, possibly in the next few years, and has also said that they want to end their career in WWE. And finally, a superstar on Monday Night Raw has reportedly been quietly turned babyface behind the scenes. So yes, obviously last night on the AEW Games YouTube channel, AEW announced a lot of new information regarding several new video games in production currently. During the 1.0 special event, AEW, various different wrestlers and personalities and stuff, revealed one console game and two mobile games that are currently in development. So we'll take a look at all of those, starting off with, oh, and it's worth noting as well, there was a lot of comedy, guys, because they're pretty funny in this announced video. So everybody was dressed as Steve Jobs, and the first person to, make themselves appear on screen was Kenny Omega in the turtleneck, the jeans, the trainers, the sneaks. He was looking like Steve Jobs. So Kenny revealed that a console title is currently being developed by Ukes, of course, who have a long history with producing WWE wrestling games, and apparently this game will be released on current and next-gen consoles as well. He then said that the game is inspired by, well, for one, WWF No Mercy, which is widely regarded as like one of, if not the best wrestling video games ever. A lot of people have a lot of sentimentality regarding that title, not just because of the nostalgia factor, but just the overall quality as well. And also Virtual Pro Wrestling too. Oh, Kenny, you cheeky boy. He also mentioned the idea of it being easy to pick up and play, but difficult to master, thereby citing NBA Jam and NFL Blitz as similar examples. Not in terms of, the content, but in terms of the learning curve, I guess, the difficulty curve. So we'll see how true that is to form. Then there was a little sneak preview sort of trailer of the game featuring Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho, kind of stylized, not so realistic, more arcadey looking figures of the wrestlers. You could tell it was them, but obviously they were blown up, their proportions were slightly more ridiculous. It wasn't, a sim, it wasn't a total realism based thing. Maybe they're deliberately going in a different direction from recent 2K games, for example, from WWE. And also we then saw Hikaru Shida get involved and attack Kenny Omega, and then it was like, the dream matches that you want to see or something, implying that you can have, intergender matches in the game. I don't know, there was a mixed response, wasn't there, specifically to that Kenny Omega figure, I think, online. A lot of people thought it looked good. Some people thought it looked bad as well, and the graphics were a bit off. I don't know, I guess it's all down to personal preference. If you don't mind sacrificing a bit of realism for a bit of cartoonishness, then it was probably right up your street. Then we had Aubrey Edwards, who apparently used to work in mobile game development before being a referee, an AEW referee specifically. Now, she announced that there's going to be an AEW Elite GM game, which is like a GM mode on your mobile. It's a mobile game. I've realized that Americans pronounce it mobile. You know what I'm talking about. Mobile. Cellular phone, man. This is apparently being developed by Crystallized Games and will allow players to manage all aspects of AEW, from booking matches to designing a roster, as they try to generate revenue and win in the ratings. Oh, I wonder what the WWE counterpoint's going to look like in this game. That game is scheduled to be released next year, 2021, and it looked very much, like a stripped back. It wasn't as in-depth as a lot of management sims we've maybe seen in other sports, but then again, it's a mobile game. You're not really going to get as full or immersive an experience. And it still looked nicely designed, it looked pretty fun. I mean, there wasn't too much that can be revealed at this stage, but it looked like a pretty decent, decent experience for a mobile game. But that wasn't the only mobile game announced, because then Cody Rhodes appeared as well. By the way, everyone's still dressed as Steve Jobs, and announced that there'll also be a game on the mobile as well called AEW Casino Double or Nothing, which will feature that's a lot more of a simple concept to really get your head around. It's just AEW branded versions of slot machines, poker, roulette, and blackjack. It's expected to be released this winter and is developed by Karma Games. Now, that one, I mean, that just fits in with AEW's general branding, doesn't it? They've often been associated associated with Vegas, gambling, that sort of thing. I mean, their first ever officially branded AEW pay-per-view, the first ever show from AEW, was in Las Vegas. It was called Double or Nothing. There was a casino theme. It was held in, the MGM Grand. And I mean, I understand it, I get it, but at the same time, how are they going to make this uniquely them? We'll have to wait and see. I mean, all the games are AEW branded, but I hope it goes in a little bit more than just slapping somebody's face or logo on a poker table. But, very interesting stuff there. And let's not forget the biggest news of all, because Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, came along and announced that she has been in charge of developing a t-shirt for AEW Games and revealed it. And that's available now. That again got a mixed response, actually. I was watching this live, and the live chat was slightly more slanted towards the negative side of things. I guess just because it's not ugly or anything, I guess it's just because they'd hyped it up massively. Like, oh, this new t-shirt, and then it was a fairly basic design. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I think that just the pitch clashed with the product, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm on The Apprentice right now. You're fired! Anyway, so that's about it for the AEW Video Games announcement. So in short, 3 games, 1 console game, which is your standard wrestling game, with, a more arcadey feel than a realistic one. Then you've got this AEW GM sort of mode on mobile, and also this casino game as well. So a lot of variety there, and it shows, I guess, an interest in producing various different types of games, which can only be an exciting thing for the future. Next up, let's move over to WWE, where a WWE legend, but one who's still currently active though, has spoken, not just a WWE legend, come on, a legend of multiple companies, a legend of the wrestling business on the whole, has teased retirement perhaps in the next 5 years, but has also implied that he wants to do so in WWE. It's none other than Rey Mysterio. Rey, alongside his son Dominic, were Lillian Garcia's guests on the latest edition of the Chasing Glory show on the WWE Network, and Rey spoke about his in-ring future, saying, he'll be 45 in December. He still moves so well for a man of his age. I'll be 45 in December, and I don't see myself going past 50. That's where this hint comes in, that he may retire in the next half decade. My body feels great right now, though, he says. I've been doing new methods of therapy, stem cells, hyperbaric chambers, cryo chambers, CBDs, a lot of things that benefit me, and I think that's given me more longevity. So it sounds like Rey's probably leaning towards retiring in the next 5 years, but at the moment, he says he feels great because of this more sort of new age technology and new treatments and therapies that have been made available to him. He's also said that he wants to finish his career with WWE, saying, definitely yes, I would like to do that. Once you enter here, you can't go any higher than this. This is where I've always envisioned myself finishing my career. And that makes sense, I guess, for Rey. You could he's probably spent longer now in WWE than anywhere else. In fact, yeah, definitely. But people have fond memories of Rey from all over the place. WCW, for example, ECW, Mexico, Japan a little bit as well. Only recently he appeared in that multi-man match with Liger, didn't he? That may be a reason why Rey actually wants to retire in WWE. He may have, do you remember when he took that little break and wrestled in New Japan? That, and also Lucha Underground as well. That may have been him kind of just doing things on his bucket list, wrestling people he's never wrestled before who he wants to. And now that he's completed all that, maybe he doesn't see any reason to, retire anywhere but WWE. I don't know, but, we can all agree that Rey is an absolute legend, deserves to go out on his own terms 100%, and if he does choose to retire in the next 5 years or so, and does do so in WWE, I really hope that he gets a very fitting send-off. Next up, let's go to PW Insider, who are claiming that a Raw Superstar has been quietly turned face without really making it overtly known on television. It's kind of a soft turn that we just kind of, I guess, infer from how they're acting at this point. These sort of turns can often be very frustrating for an audience because it seems like a character inconsistency. One week they show up and act like a heel, the next week they act like a face. I remember something similar happening to Dana Brooke not too long ago, where she just was seemingly turned for no reason and was suddenly a heel again and then was a face again with no explanation. And it makes you think, wow, if WWE are at least appearing to be that careless with their own product, then how are we going to feel about it as the audience when we're sort of paying more attention than they are to this character? Obviously, some people in WWE are going to be paying more attention, but it feels annoying, doesn't it? At the same time, this one may not have been because they just forgot whether this superstar was heel or face. This may have just been to kind of get out of a corner they'd booked themselves into. The superstar in question is Braun Strowman, and PW insiders say that he is once again a babyface. They say, hello, Strowman was flipped to the heel side on SmackDown after being pulled into a swamp by Bray Wyatt, and just a few weeks ago purposefully nailed Keith Lee in the nether regions on the 20th of October edition of Monday Night Raw. Strowman is internally now considered a babyface for the Raw brand. Now that is interesting, and I don't know if it bodes too well for Strowman, to be honest with you, because once WWE, I guess, start to get away with just turning Strowman heel and face whenever they want without explanation, does he risk becoming like the Big Show? The Big Show is infamous for being turned all the time, although I think usually it is with a reason, to be fair, so maybe a little bit of a different situation to this Strowman one. But, you know, it doesn't help the character in the long term if there's too many turns and they all seem to be, you know, just whenever it helps WWE achieve their goals. So, for example, Strowman's this has happened to him before. He's turned in the past to face Roman Reigns at a time when he was really gathering steam as a babyface. Now he's a babyface again. Maybe that's a better position for him, but you could argue that he's maybe lost a bit of momentum since then, just through various different booking mistakes. I don't know. I do hope that Strowman doesn't become the new Big Show in terms of being turned all the time so much that it almost becomes a meme. But because they're both, you know, giants effectively, they're both huge guys, maybe WWE like that versatility. You know, you can have a giant be a big crowd-pleasing babyface, or if you need him to be a heel, just turn him heel, and you know, he's bigger than all of his opponents, so they're the underdog. It is a bit lazy. I hope there's more of a reason given, but from what PW Insider have said, they've just turned him quietly, and that's it. And that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching this news video. I've been Jack from Cultaholic.com. Let me know what you thought in the comment section down below, and stay safe out there, stay positive, and I'll see you very soon.